Hey everybody, I am Jeremy Siskin. These are my books, Jazz Piano Fundamentals and Playing Solo Jazz Piano. If you like anything in this video and you want to support, I don't do Patreon or anything, I don't charge anything. The best way to support me is by buying a book from my website, jeremysiskin.com. So today's video might be short, but hopefully it's, I don't know about profound, hopefully it's meaningful. And I've been reflecting a lot since a student gave me a really good answer to a question. I asked her, what do you think needs to be better about her playing? And she says, I don't think I'm playing in ideas. I think I'm just playing notes. And I find this to be more common than you would think for those who are taking jazz lessons. Because what do we do in jazz lessons? We practice scales, we practice arpeggios, we talk about theory, and we end up not really forming ideas, but forming all these streams of notes. And they might work, but they're going to sound different than ideas. And so we got to thinking, what is the difference between an idea on one hand and a stream of notes on the other? And so I came up with, a definition. So an idea, for one thing, has a clear start and ending. It should be singable, right? A lot of stuff in jazz is pretty hard to sing because the intervals are hard, or it moves fast, or it has a lot of leaps. But at least in theory, an idea should be singable. Whereas a succession of notes, I guess, would be singable, but wouldn't be melodic in the way that would catch your ear. An idea, also has to be clearly rhythmic. When students play in streams of notes, they're often kind of wandering. And what these things add up to, for me, more than anything else, is that it must be repeatable. So if an idea has a clear start and ending, it's singable in a melodically meaningful way, and it's rhythmic in a way that really interacts with the beat. What you want to be able to do is repeat it. And so I came up with this idea that the best way to test whether you're playing an idea or just kind of random streams of notes is to practice repeating yourself. Okay? And so I want to demonstrate a little bit. You could start this over just a drone improvisation. I start my students off just holding a low C and playing a musical idea and then repeating it exactly. Now, I'm not suggesting that this is what you want to do when you actually play a jazz solo, right? We don't want to repeat ourselves and have these, overly repetitive solos. But with that said, in terms of practice, this really focuses us. Because one of the other big things that separates ideas from streams of notes is that we're listening to ourselves. And I can play, I don't want to brag here. I do want to brag here. Who am I kidding? I could play at a pretty high level just BSing, not listening to myself, right? I could improvise for Donna, and I could talk to you while I do it. I can't say anything really profound or interesting, but I'm just letting my hand go. It's not very good. It's just strings of eighth notes. Right, so I'm not really listening to myself as I'm playing, but I'm trained enough, I've spent however many hours at the piano practicing Donna Lee or whatever else that I could just do that. But I'm not playing in ideas. I'm playing these, BS-y random strings of notes. And of course, we want our BS to get better and better, just as we want our ideas to get better and better. So let's try this. I'm just going to play a drone in C. And I'm going to practice playing an idea and then repeating it. And by the way, since I teach a lot, I need you, as you're doing this, to hold yourself to a high standard in terms of repeating it exactly. So often, students are not really capable of repeating it exactly. They repeat it kind of, which means that A, they're not listening to themselves, B, their musical memory's not necessarily good enough, or C, they don't even know enough to repeat the lick. They're not paying enough attention. So I'm going to start simple and maybe get slightly more complex. that's just some ideas over a C drum. One pianist who strikes me as always so clearly playing ideas is Ahmad Jamal. Ahmad Jamal never seems to play anything where he's just letting his hand go. He's always repeating himself. He's always playing something incredibly distinctive, incredibly memorable whenever he plays. Now, you could also practice the same thing over a chord progression. Starting with a 1-6-2-5 is always a nice idea. Or you could practice it over Donna, but now the harmony is going to change. So you might have to adjust some pitches to accommodate the changing harmony, which is kind of a good exercise, right? So again, I'm going to pair two licks together. So now I'm not holding you to that same standard of everything must be exactly the same, but you want to keep it as similar as possible. Now this is a little bit of a sidebar, but maybe it's a fun one, which is that musical memory is something that we can practice. And there's all kinds of good evidence that a lot of the great improvisers had really incredible musical memory. Many improvisers return to the same lick at the beginning of each chorus of their solo. Or maybe they play the same thing at the beginning of the chorus and at the bridge. Miles Davis was a genius at this. The more that I transcribe and analyze people like Hank Mobley and Horace Silver and Stan Getz, I see them repeating themselves throughout their solos. Now, a cynic might say that that's because they don't have enough ideas and they're playing whatever they practiced. But I think there's a fair amount of evidence that they're doing this pretty intentionally. Now, here's a little game that you can play, one of many that I've come up with, but I just want to introduce this one today, which is to repeat yourself in an A-B structure. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate this in a simple way. If idea A is just hot cross buns notes, so I've improvised that for my idea A, and then idea B will be something else. Okay, so then I'm gonna return and I'm gonna go idea A, and then idea B. Right, musical memory is something that you can practice. Now those are both beautifully short licks because I'm nervous about demonstrating this in front of you. But let's try with slightly longer phrases. So that's going to be lick A, that's going to be lick B, back to lick A, lick B. Phew, a lot of pressure. I need to practice this more. How about, that's going to be lick A, that's what I played for lick B. I don't think I quite made it. But this is a way that you could spend just a few minutes a day growing that musical memory while also thinking about playing ideas. And then, of course, with these games, I love providing little variations. You could go A, B, B, A. So you really have to hold on to that lick A idea quite a long time. Someday I'll do a video more about musical memory. Let me know if that's interesting to you. I have a few of these games, which I think are kind of interesting. But just to sum up, think about playing in ideas. Ideas are clear in their start and ending. They're singable, they're rhythmic, and they're repeatable. To play ideas, you must be listening to yourself. I'm the author of Playing Solo Jazz Piano and Jazz Piano Fundamentals. Thanks for watching. See you soon.